Hello and welcome everyone to episode 2 of the Fallen Beacon, the adventure map that we have started making. Today, I've actually changed up my plans a lot since last episode, because last episode we ended off the video with wanting to do more with the main island above me, which I have done. Like, I've got a long pathway here, which isn't much. It's just showing me how big I want this actual place to be. The village is going to go that way, which you can't even see the end. And then this way, I just want to add another Easter egg, but we've got a lot of work that I want to do on this. But we're not going to be touching this at all today, because today's focus, well, I want to work on this bad boy right here, the temple. Originally, I was going to make it so the players fall in and, you know, they begin their adventure in this area here and walk out into the jungle. But I thought this is a good opportunity to do some Indiana Jones styled stuff, and we're actually going to turn the interior of this jungle temple into something a lot bigger. We're going to be including some traps, we're going to be including some custom mobs, maybe some custom weapons are going to be made in this video as well. But I'm looking forward to this. So I've done a few things in between now and last episode, and one of them is I was making and messing around with block states. Or should I say block displays, because these things are going to crush the player. We're going to create traps like that. I was just messing around with it and thought it was cool. However, we will come back to this later because there's some other stuff that I want to work on. I also increased the size of the coin. They were very small. Now I've kind of doubled the size, and I think that works out a lot better. I've also made a little glowing effect from the particles, so they just look like they stand out a little bit more. Also, last episode I didn't really show you how the coins work with the command wise, so I just want to quickly go through it with you guys. What I did is I executed a command if there is an entity, if there is an item frame that has a gold nugget inside of it, and the player is distanced to 1, so we're detecting, or we're executing the command as the player at the item frame. So we're detecting if there's a player near it. If there is, it will then go to this chain command, which will then play a sound effect. Basically, that's all it's going to do, which is an experience orb pickup. So if I play this in chat, that should just play a sound effect that you guys can hear. You hear that? It's very quiet. I apologize. If I do turn it up, I can make it a little bit louder. Yeah, there you go. You can hear that. It is a bit quieter because, well, I want them to be a very subtle sound. I don't want it to be over dramatic when people are picking up coins. Same goes with this one. This is an amethyst cluster here. So if I go and copy this command as well, you'll hear the amethyst noise, which once again, let me turn it up so you guys can hear better. There you go. Then once those sounds are played, it will then once again go to the player, go to the item frame. If the player is near the item frame, it will then run a scoreboard, which I created called coins. It will then display particles at the player for when it does pick up the coin, and then at the top it will kill the item frame with the item inside of it. So if I go near it, you see that, and you saw the end rod particles then as well. So yeah, that's this command here, which adds 1, this one adds 3, this one adds 5 to your total tally at the top. So that's how it works. And obviously we've got these ones here which produce those little dust glowing particles at the actual coin itself. So that's in a nutshell what's going on here. So that's what I've done in between episodes. But to start today's episode, I want to create some custom entities. I want to create some custom weapons. So I'm going to go make a sword, because in this jungle temple, I want there to be custom enemies that have a chance of dropping a weapon, which isn't going to be any game-changing weapon, but I want it to be some sort of sword that the player can use. Originally, I planned for the players to start with some sort of weapon, but I don't know exactly what that is going to be yet. So I'm just going to hop into Blockbench. We're just going to start creating, see what we can make. Well, that was a success. As soon as I do this command, we get ourselves a wooden sword. Well, it should probably be a stone sword, but look at how cool that is. I'm a big fan of this weapon. I love it. It looks so good. The only thing that does annoy me is the fact that the textures do glitch a little bit towards the top, as you can see there. I do need to fix up a couple things, but overall, I think this sword is good enough for now. I will have to come back and fix it. But that there's going to be the weapon that these enemies are going to drop in the temple. I don't know what to call it yet. I was thinking of just calling it a stone blade or something along those lines, because I don't want it to be any like over dramatic sword or anything, but I don't want to have the old sword texture and old sword type because everything in here I want to change into their own version. Like, we do have the stone sword, which does 5 attack damage. And yes, this is a wooden sword that does 4. I want to keep this with 4 because I don't want it to be too overpowered. And I am going to get rid of the durability on these weapons. So I'm going to quickly turn this stone blade into an actual weapon instead of just a wooden sword. So let's quickly do that. When you hold the item, you see that stone blade appears. That is the good thing. However, the law and nothing's appear when I hover over it. Okay, there we go. That works. However, I want to hide it so when it says when in main hand, it has the stats. I want to just hide that and use my own custom one, as you can see. It's all fixed now. We've got ourselves the stone blade with +4 attack damage, which I really like. Things I'm going to do with the weapons is, as you can see, stone blade has its own title, but then underneath it's got the +4 attack damage. Obviously, that's the damage that the weapon's going to do, but as well as it is green. The reason it's green is because it shows that it's a good benefit on the weapon. If it was red, it means that it does a negative effect on the player. Like, I don't know, a sword might change their speed, let's say, or the amount of health they have when they hold it. Something like that, because you never know what the weapon will do. But there's our first weapon done. We've got ourselves the stone blade. Now, we're moving on to the more difficult parts. So, weapons and that I have learnt and messed with quite a bit, so this wasn't too difficult for me to learn. However, the next thing I'm going to learn is a little bit more challenging. I'm going to learn how to make custom entities. I know, right? This is going to take a long time to learn. Custom entities. That is crazy. Why would I be doing such a thing? And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want random zombies and default vanilla mobs wandering around the lands of Minecraft in this world. They're still going to have the Minecraft feeling and vibe to them, but I want to add in my own custom mobs. I'm just excited to learn this. This is something I haven't learned before, so time to hop back into Blockbench. So, I'd like all of yous to meet Brock. Brock the Rock. I didn't put too much effort into this guy because I wanted to basically test out, learn how the game works, and it somehow did. It's in Minecraft now, so I've done something right, which is good. I did forget his eyes textures, though, that you can see that there's orange and blue there. They're meant to be green. I did forget those textures. But I like this guy. He's a big cobblestone dude. He's got a deep slate mouth and horns, and he's got deep slate in his joints as well. Now, the real question is, will he animate? If I do that... No, he doesn't. I think that should work. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Okay. Well, I did something. The thing's chasing me now. But he's chasing me backwards. He's chasing me backwards. He's facing the wrong way. Get out of here. Get out of here. Stop chasing me. So that was a zombie, as you could see. And he was following the AI of the zombie. But now that the zombie's dead, this guy is still here. There's a lot I need to work on. Need to figure out why he isn't doing his walking animation. Oh, the chase is on. The chase is on. Oh, oh. Oh, hang on. He's moving. He's doing his animation. Oh, I see why. I'm so stupid. The reason it wasn't working is because I think I put... Yeah, I put at. I put at instead of as. Why did I just wasn't thinking. I apologize, everyone. But he's got his animation working. You see that his arms are moving. I don't know why his bottom legs aren't. In the actual Blockbench, he was doing a good animation. These are supposed to be moving. Oh, but his arms are moving. That's working. These parts of the legs are moving. That is also working. But also his head has a slight like up and down tilt to it. As you can see, it's moving slowly up and down as if he's moving. Brock, you are our first enemy. However, I don't think I'm going to use you because you were my test, which means you aren't a proper entity. I'm sorry, mate. We're going to have to go off and create some of my own entities. And I probably won't make any the size of you. These guys are probably going to be like 1 block tall, I'm going to aim for, because this is the first part of this map and I want the enemies to be easy. Even though little doesn't make them easy, like let's say baby zombies compared to normal zombies, They're little because they have littler health, is what I'm basically saying. Okay, let's see if it actually appears. It does. Ooh, okay. That's a good start. Oh, look. Look at it. Oh, it's adorable. I'd like to introduce you guys to the Mosslet, the first official mob in this game. Okay, I summoned him in the air. Now the real question is, does his animations work? Oh, he jumped. He jumped. Did you see that? And there's his walking. It works. Both of them work. He's walking and he's jumping. Oh, I love it. It's so good. So the next step now is to create a zombie. Just like that, all right? Get out of here. You don't need to be there. Next step now is to make him invisible. He's there. Somewhere. I can't even see him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually summon the Mosslet. There he is. Then I'm going to summon this zombie. Oh, look at him. Did you see that? He's a little rascal. If I go into survival mode, he's going to start chasing me. Now, let's do some command blocks. Okay, so it has been a little bit. I've been messing around with this creature. And yes, before any of you scream going, oh, it's probably going to work better if you are doing this in data packs or whatever. Yes, I am doing data packs, but I'm going to try and restrict the amount of data packs that I make. That's the first thing. Second of all, I don't have as good of knowledge on data pack compared to these blocks right here. So what I have done since you last just saw the Mosslet is I've created a zombie which is invisible. I've created the Mosslet, which you guys already know, but what I have also done is added in the animation. So whenever there is the Mosslet, it will run these animations whenever the Mosslet is not moving, when his motion is 0. It basically reads if there is no block of air. So if there's a solid block underneath the Mosslet, it will do the walking animation. And here, what this one does is if the block underneath is air, it will do a jumping animation because it recognizes that there is a block of air underneath. So if I summon in the invisible zombie, and I summon in this guy. Oh yeah, that's one thing I do need to fix, and that's the fact that his pose is a walking animation, so he's just going to stand like that when he's still. But if I go into survival, look, he's walking when he chases you, and then when he jumps, he does a little, look at his arms when he jumps. Oh, that's amazing. Like if I hit him, his arms go up. I feel like I've done a really good job with this. I'm very happy with this. That's our first mob in the game. And then, yeah, he disappears when you kill the zombie, which is excellent. And as you could hear, I was actually playing the sound of a stone block being broken, basically, at the Mosslet. So if I summon him in again, you'll hear it. So whenever he's walking, he'll make that sound. But when he's still, you see he doesn't make the sound. So that's our first creature done. It is a bit of a mess right now with the amount of blocks and command blocks and all that over here, but at least we got a working creature done. I've got 3 more to add now. So I'll be back with you once we've created all 3. Now that I know how to make these custom entities, that went by so fast. It only took me 30 minutes to make another 2. By the way, when I meant another 3 entities, I meant 3 in total, so we include the Mosslet with this. So we got our 3 entities right here. We got the Mosslet, which you guys already know about. This guy who chases you, if I go into survival, you see that he will start chasing you, has a jump animation and everything. Let's get rid of him. There we go. Then we've got the Peblin, which is a little, well, rock monster, which may be a little too fast. I might have to slow that guy down. And then we've got the Coblet, which is a really annoying Vex. But the thing with the Vex is, oh my, I can't hit him. There we go. The thing with the Vex is, he's a 1-tap. They've only got 4 HP. So as much as it is a Vex type of mob, it's basically a 1-hit with the stone blade that you're going to get. You know what? I might even change the Vex to only have 1. So then no matter what weapon you have, it is going to be extremely weak. You know what I might do with this guy is I'm going to give him 15 health. So a little bit more health than the other dude. But we're going to be making him extremely slow. Yeah, I think that suits it perfectly. So the Peblin actually doesn't have any animations to it whatsoever. It's simply like, if you look at it, it kind of just sits there and tilts its head. That's all it does. The Coblet, however, if I quickly just give it no AI, 1B, and then I summon it in, I have given it a little bobbing animation. So that's going to continuously run. I've actually got to make a command block for that, but I think it looks very good. There is only one problem. I haven't aligned these hitboxes up. That's why I couldn't hit it earlier. We've got to fix that. Okay, that should hopefully fix the problem. If I do that and I do that, there we go. The actual mob has now been fixed. So if I get an invisible Vex, this guy will be flying around and, well, doing his thing. And there we have it. There's our 3 mobs done. So now that we have those mobs done, we can get onto the actual jungle temple itself. We need to start designing some traps, designing some rooms, designing some parkour, just designing a whole load of stuff for this jungle temple. So we're going to build all the rooms out here first. We're not going to actually attach it to this jungle temple here because I plan for the player to be teleported into that room later on once they complete all the puzzles. And when I mean teleported, I mean they use a key and then I use like, I know, teleportation commands to make it look like they went through a door and they came out into this map over here. So the first trap, I'm going to try and involve these 2 guys here. And when I mean involve them, we're going to try and use some sort of basic trap. This isn't going to be a really difficult one. This is just going to be closing walls onto the player. And it's simply just going to repeat open and close. And the player just has to get through. So when I'm talking about designing these rooms, it's going to be like not different puzzles and each room has a different thing to solve or whatever. It's going to be like one massive jungle temple with multiple traps in it, but each trap has their own section, if you know what I mean. So it's time to get working, time to get building. We need to build this entire jungle temple. Well, the interior at least. The outside isn't going to be seen. So yeah, we're just going to put it here. So let's get building. So I've been quite busy, as you could see in the time lapse. Right here, we've got the main entrance into the jungle temple, which this is where the players will get trapped. There is going to be a cutscene. Well, I plan to do a cutscene. I don't know how I'm going to do it. We'll find that out in future episodes. But the player's going to come in here and they'll spawn right here. And simply, they're in an overgrown temple, which doesn't do anything right now. You kind of just explore. On the bottom floor, we've got guards on either side. We've got rubble everywhere, vines, glow berry bushes, and then we've also got these things here, which I'll come back to. I'll show you exactly what I plan to do with these. We've got a tree here for the centerpiece, which I will be messing with very soon. And then we've got this gold block here, which I'll come back to that, the tree, and these things very soon. Let me just explain this place first. So yeah, it's just a whole heap of rubble. This is kind of where the player explores around the place, see what they can find. We've got these little hidden areas around the place, which have like food, rotten flesh, got some coins around the place. Yeah, it is so good. And then we've also got these staircases on either side. And as you can see, we've also got a mixture of different particles that we have around the place. We've got enchantment particles, we've got the spore blossom particles. I think we've got some of the village. Yeah, there it is. Maybe it's composter particles. And then we've also got some crimson and warped forest particles as well. We come up to the next floor. It's just a massive ring around the outside of this place. As I showed you, there's going to be more little just hidden places in the side of this place where you can gather a whole heap of coins, get your coin number up. I'm trying not to run over these because I don't want to like accidentally pick one up. These areas here, I'm going to turn into puzzles. I'll come back to that soon. And then we come to the upper floor, more coins scattered around the place. But in these chests here, we've got some more loot. I've actually given one stone blade. I've only given one though. If it's single player, then good on you. If it's multiplayer, you're all going to have to fight over that. But the main exit to get out of this place is up here. So the player will come up here, but they can't actually get out. They have to unlock this roof part here. And to do that, well, we're going to go back to the bottom floor where I showed you what these things here do. On top of these pillars is going to be particles that are going to be flying towards the gold block in the center. That there is going to be the temple heart. So the player's goal in this scenario is to actually deactivate that gold block or the temple heart right there. And in order to deactivate it, you need to deactivate all these beams which will be shooting particles towards the temple heart. When you do deactivate the temple heart, it will unlock a section further underground here, as you can see, there's a big area here, which will have many traps that we are going to build. In order to actually get rid of all these beams here, you got to go through the jungle temple and go into these areas like this. Here, there's going to be one puzzle, and then over this side, we're going to have another puzzle, which each puzzle you do unlocks 2 of these beams here to then eventually deactivate the temple heart. Once the temple heart has been deactivated, as I said, the tree opens and you can go into the future traps. Once you go through those traps, and I think there's a lever, I don't exactly know what I want to do yet, but there's going to be some sort of way to activate something. It is then going to open up this entrance up here so you can go right to the top. So I've got a bit of work to do. Yes, I do still. So in a nutshell, you walk in and you need to go through and complete the 2 puzzles in order to unlock and deactivate the temple heart, which then unlocks this bottom section, which then you have something else to do in order to get up to the top. And then when you get to the top, there's going to be a boss fight. However, we're not going to deal with any of that just yet. We are going to come back to that later because we've got this main temple to deal with. Now, I did tell you all that I was going to do some traps, but I think it's going to be better off if I actually go through and do them with you guys, just to show you the progress I do along the way. So let's create the beams that go towards the temple heart. So the puzzles that will deactivate the temple beams and the temple heart, I've already planned one of the puzzles to deactivate some of the temple beams and the temple heart, and that is right here. I'll show you guys this soon, but for now, I need to actually get the temple heart and temple beams up and going. I've also made a to-do list here. I've done the main entrance. That's all I've done. So I'm going to tick that off. We've got all these other stuff I need to do for the actual jungle temple to finish off this section. So before I get into the actual temple itself, I've got the gold block here. I've got the chiseled stone bricks here, as we're going to get a little concept so we know what we're going to be doing with the armor stands. When I mean armor stands, I also mean beams, because my goal is to summon an armor stand, not on top of it, going to be inside of it. And it's going to have particles that are appearing on top of it. And it's going to be invisible as well. And my goal is the armor stand will basically fly towards this gold block where there will be a separate armor stand. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just done an execute command. So the command happens at the entity, which is tagged T-beam, which stands for temple beam. I don't know, don't question my tags. But this T-beam here is actually the armor stand that we're summoning at the chiseled stone bricks. Then at the armor stand, we're just going to summon a particle, which is, well, the color white. Oh, so it is working. I was a bit confused then. I need to actually take this up. 2? Yeah, that will work. Actually, you know what? I reckon a better particle will do well here. I reckon glow squid ink. Oh, that looks a lot better. However, it does... Oh, you know what? That won't look too bad. If I go through, I might actually change that to 3 because this is the amount of particles that happen per tick. Yeah, I like that. So this armor stand I actually gave myself just then actually has the component or its own tag called the T heart because it's the temple heart. And so what I need to do now is when I summon in this entity here, I need to make it so it goes towards the T heart, and once it reaches the T heart, it's going to disappear. In order to do that, pretty simple. TP add a tag equals T beam, and then we put these in and we do 1. I think let's do 1. Let's just test it out. Actually, I'll probably start off with 0.25. It's a bit slower, but it'll do. Facing entity add a tag equals T heart, and we have to put limit equals 1 because the game really starts to have a panic attack when you're teleporting it to entities and the limit is a 1, because then it's like, which one do I look at? And then we do always active. Oh, hang on, I forgot one thing. I need to execute the command at a tag equals T-beam. There we go. That works. So now it's going towards it. Then all I need to do is execute at the entity T-heart, so the gold block. We need to execute as the entity T-beam. If it's distance to 1 within the gold block or that armor stand at the gold block, it will then run and kill that armor stand. So if I summon this guy in, he'll just float towards it and then disappear when he reaches that gold block. So what do I need to do? This armor stand here, which has the tag T-heart, I need to summon it at the gold block instead of putting it on top. And then we need to put this on loop. So in order to do this, I'm just going to kind of copy this command block here. But instead of T-beam, we're going to add in the T-heart. Summon armor stand, and then we're going to put in those coordinates that I copied just then. Invisible, I'm not going to make it invisible just yet. What I'm actually going to do is change that to -1, so it's inside the gold block. So if I do that, Oh, I did it the wrong way. This is actually meant to be -3. I don't know why I went closer to the top. So now if I summon it, it's inside the gold block. I will be making this invisible so you won't actually see it sticking out. And we just summon those armor stands and they go right towards it. Now let's change these guys to be invisible. And let's delete these. And you'll see that every time we summon this in, now there's floating particles that go towards the gold block. Works out really well. I'm very happy with this. So if I grab this and let's make a short redstone circuit. Yeah, let's just do that. And what I can do is just put that command block there. And now it's going to continuously do that. And the good thing is I can do multiple as well. As you can see, it is very slow and I can do multiple at the same time. So that's our problem done. We've created ourselves these beams. Now we need to import it into the actual temple itself. That should simply be it. That's all I need. Now the real question is, will this work? So if I press that button and I let that circuit do its thing, it should hopefully be working. It is. Look at that. Oh, that looks sick. I'm loving this. These vines are in the way. I need to get rid of some of these vines. So now they've actually got a temple heart that they need to turn off. This is looking sick. I love this. So we can tick off the temple heart now. Now, the next part we need to do is implement puzzle 1 and puzzle 2 to then turn off the temple heart. So we're getting a bit more into the tricky parts of the actual temple itself. However, I've already got one of the puzzles set up right here. I like to actually thank Avid for this. He's a YouTuber. You guys should check him out. He actually inspired the creation for this and actually helped a lot with the command block work here. But how this works is, well, you have to get all of these blocks here, all the wart, the same color. You have to make these all the same color. The warped wart and the nether wart. And what do you mean by that? Well, it's quite simple. You know, you actually get an armor stand, boom. And when you jump on these, they change color. But they change color in like a plus way. So if I jump, I know here, you'll see that all of these blocks here change color in a plus shape. So if I fall, where's a good spot? If I fall on this block right there, you see it created a plus shape around me. And the simple objective is turn this entire thing into the one color. This is actually a lot more difficult than it actually seems. Yeah, players are going to spend a bit here. I already know that. Yeah, this is very difficult. So if I change this armor stand to be invisible, you'll see that whenever I jump on this nether wart, it teleports to me and changes them. So it is such a cool puzzle. And I'm going to implement it into this. We're actually going to put the puzzle in this section right here. So player has to come up and they have to solve the puzzle in order to turn off 2 of the beams. So we're going to hop into another small time lapse as I'm going to create a room for this puzzle right here. So I'll be back with you very shortly. We've made ourselves the first puzzle. It is probably a bit bigger than what I was expecting to build. I was expecting it to be a small time lapse, but I turned it into something much larger. And yes, this entire room is simply for one puzzle, and that is just the wart. That's simply it. Now, the player can walk up, press the button, and well, they begin their adventure. And I also added it so it says jump to change color. So then they get the hint on what they have to do. And then, well, the armor stand will disappear. If I float away and then I come back in, you see that it's gone because it detects that the player is no longer attempting at this challenge and they have to come back and press the button again. So there's our next room done. Very happy with it. Maybe could have had a little bit more detail in smaller areas, but I will come back and do that in the future. But that's the main room done for this puzzle. Now, the other puzzle that I plan on doing, it's not really going to be a puzzle. It's going to be a bit more challenging when it comes to, I'm going to be adding in things like parkour, maybe a couple enemies that you need to kill, because I still haven't involved the enemies that we made earlier in the episode. This room isn't going to be as big, so this isn't going to be a time lapse. I'm just going to skip forward till I'm done. So I'll see you guys again very shortly. So the parkour is now done. It isn't too difficult, but there are quite a few challenging jumps that the players may struggle a bit, I do expect them to complete this section. And don't forget that this is early days in the map, so everything isn't going to be at its hardest difficulty. The difficult part with this place was trying to make it overgrown. I spammed bushes everywhere, as you could see, but I can't use like vines or glowberries because the player can climb them. So trying to make this place overgrown was very difficult. If you guys have any suggestions, then make sure to comment them down below because I'm going to need some to make this place feel a lot more overgrown. But back on track. We've got ourselves some simple parkour. I won't go through it all, but like it's not too difficult. There are quite a few challenging jumps. So we've got some timing that needs to be done. But then also I've kind of spammed coins everywhere as usual. That's kind of expected in this place. But some coins are in places that you need to go out of your way to get to. Like let's say up here, there's a couple coins here. There's a barrel here with food. To get up there, you need 2 extra jumps. Then you need to come back and then you can get onto that island. So these 2 jumps here are a little bit more challenging. And then over here, we've obviously got a piston, and you do not want to be pushed off here. However, I just realized that you can jump from the bush to those coins. So let me add a wall real quick. There we go. Now the player can only jump this way, but it's just a challenging jump. And if they do fall, they go all the way back to the start. So we are, just giving them a couple more challenges. And then obviously the further we go down, the more challenging it gets. We've got more coins. This one you can't actually get to. You have to go around there. And then you have to end up doing this challenging jump right here, which is a little bit challenging. I can't say I'm the best at parkour, but it is definitely, there we go. Oh, I did not mean to jump on that. But yeah, it is quite challenging. There we go. Just put that item frame back. Yeah, there's quite a few, and then you get to the end and there's a button that you can press. I've also allowed the player to get another stone blade, just in case that is multiplayer and the players don't actually have any swords to share around. However, I do need to create a sword that you start with. I need to do an episode soon on the actual beginning of this game, but I guess the jungle temple, as I said, is the priority right now. So that is that part done, or 99% done. The reason I say 99% is because I need to do some overgrown stuff around the place, make it definitely look more like the jungle temple, because at the moment it's just the wall spammed with cracked stone bricks and mossy stone bricks and then the normal stone bricks. Even in here, I'm definitely going to work on inside this place a tiny bit. Not rework or anything, but just making it look a lot more overgrown than what it actually is and adding just some minor details as time goes on. So we don't need to really stress over any of this stuff. That will come eventually. And I'll get other people to come over and just, add their own bits of detail to this place. But that's puzzle 1 and puzzle 2 done. So we can go tick those off now. Now we're up to the underground traps. So the underground traps area down here is going to be a little bit of a challenge. There's definitely going to be a lot of things I'm going to be learning. I apologize, you cannot see me right now. There we go. We're going to have to make some unique traps that I've never made before. I'm only going to probably make, let's say 3. These are definitely going to be unique traps, so they won't be the usual traps of like pistons and redstone and those types of traps. It is going to be like proper swords coming out of the ground. There's going to be like quicksand maybe. I'll figure out what I am going to do. And yes, Indiana Jones, don't worry. I plan to do a boulder boss in the future. We're not actually going to use it as a trap. That's simply going to be the final boss in this area. When I mean final boss, I don't mean like final boss of the game. It's going to be like a mini boss. Okay, let's just say mini boss. If we go over to my to-do list, we got the boulder boss. So that's kind of like he's got the key. You just need to kill him and get out. It's not going to be anything difficult. It's just going to be cool and unique. And then, yeah, we've got boulder boss attacks and then final exit. But that is all going to be for next episode, because next episode we're going to focus on the boss alone. But for now, we've got ourselves some trap rooms to design, because we need the player to come down here and their objective is to actually flick a lever. And once they flick that lever, the opening to the boss room will occur. So we've got this area here to work with, and the first trap or obstacle I want the player to dodge is most likely going to be the crushing one I showed you earlier with the 2 big blocks. Now, because there's only going to be 3 traps here, I'm going to set the player's spawn point right here, and I'm going to get them to do all 3 in a row. So they may get past the first one and then die in the second one, but even if they died in the second one, they still spawn back here and they have to go through the first one again. So here's the pathway I want the player to follow. They'll start here and they're going to go through their first trap about here. Then they're going to turn the corner and their second trap is instantly going to be here. The third trap is going to be taking up this entire room here. And then this exit here is just going to have a couple enemies that the player is going to face. I'm going to be quite mean and I want the player to go through the traps twice. So once they make it through the entire place and they flick the lever over here, their spawn point is set here. So they can't just go and die to the trap and spawn back up the top. They have to make their way through those traps again and get out. So let's get creating. Okay, progress has been made. It's actually a moving block now. And it's moving and it's crushing the player. We're making good progress now. Now we actually need it to damage the player, because at the moment I could just walk straight through this thing. That's going to be the difficult part. Funny enough, I did this through a hopper clock and I was just repeating command blocks, moving it 0.1 blocks forward, and it's continuously doing that. And then it does it the reverse when the redstone block goes to the other side. That's all I did. And look at that. It works. Okay, I think I've got it working now. So what I have done is I've made it so there is an armor stand that follows exactly in the center of this block. And so whenever I'm near the armor stand, I should die. So here should be fine. Yes. As soon as I go in, it kills me. But obviously I need to work a bit with making sure that this here works. If I'm here, it's just going to squash me. The only thing that I do see happening is these corner parts. I don't get squashed by the corners. Okay. I figured that part out. So that is trap 1 done, really. I will have to work on like measuring all this stuff, because at the moment these corner parts are fine, but when I'm more towards the center of this actual thing, it then kills me. But that there is the first trap done. I know this is a bit messy right now, but I'm going to work on these traps and get them more detailed by the start of next episode. For now, I'm just going to get the traps in place so then I can start detailing for next episode. And there is the second trap, which involves a little bit more work, and I've definitely got to do a little bit more on it. But how it works is it has swords that come out of the ground, and there won't actually be a path here. You have to figure it out yourself, and your job is to get through this minefield basically of swords that are appearing out of the ground. And yes, I've still got a bit to work on this, but on to the next trap. And I can't say our next trap is done, but I've got the idea. The player is going to come across many of these, as you can see, all in a row. They are basically stone cutters, aka the saws. So the player has to time their jump across each one of them, which I know seems quite easy, but this is nothing compared to what these future rows are going to look like. Some of them are going to be faster, there's going to be multiple in some of them, who knows. My goal by the start of next episode is to get all these traps detailed and done for you guys. Sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger, but it's been a really long episode. And it is also midnight right now. Well, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys all enjoyed. We did a lot today. We got this whole section done, really. That's what we were able to do. Also, we created some more entities. Next episode, we plan on adding those entities into our actual jungle temple, and we're going to scatter them around, making sure they spawn to annoy the players. But also, we need to give them a loot table. So that's the first in next episode. That won't be too difficult. Second of all, I need to actually work on that boss and get this entire thing done. In between episodes, I'm going to work on those traps, get them all detailed and get them looking good, as well as I'm just going to fix up some minor bugs around the place, maybe do some more overgrowing in that place. But yeah, thanks all for watching. We'll see you all in the next video.